Hello again, welcome to another Green Dragons Gaming Club. Without us, they never feel like winners. Without them, we couldn't look so good. So again, we're over here based out in Westchester, Pennsylvania. So if you live in Northeast Maryland, Southern Jersey, Southeast PA, please do me a favor, reach out to us. Always looking for new players. We play a variety of games, and I mean, right now we're talking about doing some Arkham and Cthulhu. At the same time, there's X-Wing and War Machine. I mean, we play everything under the sun. One of our guys actually helped make Robotech, so and big time Robotech. Got two players that love that game. So whatever your interest, reach out to us. We're always looking for like-minded, similar people. Anyway, on to our battle report. We have Saurian Ancients versus Dwarven Holds. So I'm going to preface this. This was a game against Brett. Brett has an Empire army and he has a High Elf army. High Elves was his first army. Then he comes back from about maybe 3-4 weeks ago. He's like, hey, look, I got a Saurian Ancient army. And it was all kind of disassembled and things like that. Turn around, he assembles it quickly, gets it painted. So you will see some learning curve. Those of us who have been playing 9th Age know that there's a huge learning curve from 8th edition to 9th Age. And even when you pick up a brand new army at any edition, there's a learning curve. So please keep that in mind. At the same time, Dwarven Holds, where I've had the army for years, has not been my primary army. I'm not saying I haven't played it and I'm not decent with it, but and that's my dog in the background. I do apologize. But at the same time, it's different levels of learning curve here. So here's his list. He's got a Call to Lords, very good with the magic. He uses Path of Light. He's protects that unit from War Machines. He's got the Wellspring, Unconquerable Will, and of course that everyone has to have a Dispel Scroll. Saurian Warlord. He's got so many with that Blade of Strife and the Hardened Shield and everything else. He's got that Potion of Strength and Greater Shielding. So that's a solid warlord. Then he's got the Ancient Cayman, 25 warriors, and he's got 15 Skink Braves that skirmish with javelins and shields. Then he's got Snake Swarms, 2 units of 2. He's got a unit of 7 Caymans with a champion and halberd. He's got the 2 units of Skyriders, or 3 Skyriders, and they're on Ramphidons. So Skyriders are essentially fast cavalry, but when you make them Ramphidons, they have Frenzied, and they have that special where you pick, if you have Ramphidons, you pick 2 units at their preferred prey, and then the Ramphidons, so the mount, gets an extra D3 attacks and some other stuff, and then you've got his, he had a unit of like 15 to 20 Temple Guard on the board. So Dwarven Holds, same list I feel last time. I didn't change anything. I didn't really have time to play around with it. And the only thing change I did do is that both units have Rune of Metal and Rune of Gleaming, which does me no good this entire game. Pretty much my engineer is pretty basic. My one Thane, my BSB is very basic. I didn't even give him a shield, which I need to rectify, but he doesn't even have a shield. My clan leader's there he's pretty combat oriented, and then I've got the marksman guild handgunners, which are great. I love that unit. Then I've got another 10 marksmen. Then I've got the 25 warriors with the Banner of Courage and spears. I've got clan warriors, the flame cannon, the organ gun, both of which have runes on them. The cannon does not. The cannon's just a basic cannon. And then 17 Kingsguard. So we started doing alternating who's deploying what, and then I got a good gist where his army was. I've been playing this game for way too many years, so I'm like, all right, I want first turn. I'm going to go ahead and deploy everything after about half the armies were set, because he was going to out deploy me anyway. So I go ahead and I place what was left of my units and get first turn. So here's how the board looks. Now he has already vanguarded up his 2 his Ramphidons, and the units that he chose for that special role with his Ramphidons is the one unit on the right, which they actually are the very, very old handgunner models. However, I'm using them until I actually assemble and paint they used to be fire drakes, the forge wardens now, so they're being used as forge wardens. Where and the other white unit, and I'm sorry I have white units right now. The other white unit on the left-hand side in the trees, those are the warriors with great weapons. So those were the two units that he chose with them. In my mind, that was slight error. I probably would have went with like the bigger blocks or used them specifically for war machine hunting and gone that way. But he chose that, and it's not saying it wasn't a bad choice, because he expected me to run up with those units. Because I said, even with the Forge Warden, even though, yeah, they're 150 points, to me they're still chaff. I mean, 150 point chaff. My strength are my two blocks, and my artillery and handgunners. But he placed there. So remember, they're frenzy. I have turn one. I end up taking the marksman on the left-hand side with nothing but crossbows and charging into his Ramphadons on the left-hand side. And the ones on the right, well, I've got my organ gun, my cannon, my marksman, my fire drakes. I got all that shooting over there. So I'm like, you know what? Let's see what we're able to do. So turn around, I get off. He's like, I get off the Rune of Gleaming, Rune of Metal. He's like, I don't care. I really don't care. But now the shooting phase comes. And again, this was kind of what was I expected. I actually expected to do more, but they're hard to hit because they're more than half my distance. They're, what else was it? They're more than half my distance. They're skirmish, so I'm already at a -2 to hit them, and I'm only BS of 3 with the exception of the one unit, which basically makes him a BS of 4, the Gilded Marksman. So they're there with 1 wound. He does his panic test and he sticks around. So we'll see what happens with that one remaining Ramphadon. It's a tough critter. Over here, he did 1 wound to me, but I did 2 or 3 wounds. I did enough to kill 1. I think I did 1 more extra on top of that. And so he breaks from combat. He flees. He's too far away from his lord. He rolls triple 1s with his cold-blooded, or triple 1s with his flee. All right, and it's like, sorry, bad luck there. And because of the one he took away, I was running straight ahead, right at, well, not kind of straight ahead, but it would have taken me right into those swarms. So I ended up charging the swarms. I actually roll high enough, and I reached the swarms. So now as Lizardman turn 1, you see on the left-hand side, I'm into his swarms. On the right-hand side, he moves up his Croxagors with the Cayman special. He moves his swarm up, right up to chaff me up, and he moves up his Skink Warriors. So we're a very friendly group. So I turned to him like, question, why did you move your swarms up right in front of my huge block like that? Why did you do that? And he goes, well, I didn't want you reaching my skinks and charging their flank. Well, that's legitimate. Is the only thing is you know, I'm a dwarf. I've only got 3-inch plus the 2d6. They're roughly about 13 inches away. That was never even part of my train of thought. So let's see, what else happened? He moves his Temple Guard up right behind the hill so that I can't see him with my war machines. And his Saurian warriors are over there. And that's it. So he gets off net of light on my warriors. I'm like, okay, sure, go for it. I did not plan on having them charge in, because for me to have them charge in is literally suicide. They are a chaff unit, so I'm going to try to utilize them as chaff. He gets shooting off. He actually manages to kill 1. I forgot they had a 6-up ward save too. Oh well. So he does manage to kill 1 of my Forge Wardens from Skink shooting. And over here, I lose another warrior, but I managed to kill 1 full block of swarms, and with combat res do another 2 wounds. So now it's dwarf turn 2. So I can't remember if that just fell down or, yeah, that just, I think, I do shoot that this turn. All right, so we were already into that. So movement phase, I really didn't move much. He expected me to do some charges. I'm like, I'm not going to charge you. I'm going to wait for you to come charge me. Nothing right now you're doing is scaring me. And your Caimans, even though, yeah, their speed 6, they're too far. They're pretty far away. The skinks are skinks. They don't fear me. So I pretty much just did some quick maneuvering, and that was it. Shooting. I thought I could fire one unit. It only had one wound left into the Ramphadon, and then everything was going to open up fire into the skinks or the Caimans. I couldn't hit it. I rolled so dismal. It was horrible. So finally, I did like one wound, which is all that I needed, and that finally killed that. Over here, the warriors easily kill the swarm that was left. I did charge into that other swarm, and because it was chaffing me up, I just couldn't let it chaff me up and kill it quickly, and then I reform. So now it's Lizard's turn 2. So here's how the board looks. As I said, I charged that one unit of swarms and chaff up the swarms. The unit of crossbow, I'm going to do a combat pivot. And I had actually turned around and chaffed up his warriors with my warriors. He declares a charge on them. No, I'm not ready for that combat. I want to try to weaken him with my war machines and see how that goes. So I choose to flee. He charged with his Caimans, since I killed that one Raphanon. He charged with his Caimans into my unit of Forge Wardens. I didn't like that matchup, so again, I chose to flee. I didn't do a stand and shoot because I wasn't going to do enough hits and wounds. Pots me out. I'm a dwarf. Didn't go anywhere. Everything loved it, especially with the BSB right there. They fall right in between the war machines. And I just and so then he took his skinks, and I thought he was actually going to go into the unit of marksman, and instead he actually chose to go into the organ gun, which is a great play on his part. I know the organ gun can be nasty, but I actually thought that if he was able to turn around and defeat the marksman and get the marksman, then he'd have free reign over there. So that's that. He gets up Shield of Protection, which will come back in just a moment. And then he turns around. But he did that with a miscast, and he rolled like 11 on dice, and he threw like 3 dice at that. So then he turns around and gets Guardian Light off. Or no, that's Guardian Light. He loses one guy with the miscast, and he gets another spell off with rolling a miscast. So he miscast twice in the same phase. I didn't stop either one. The second time, he ends up losing 3 of his spells because he threw 5 dice at it. But yeah, because he threw 3, miscast, lost 3, and then threw 5. And I didn't bother stopping any of them. He lost his spells that I cared about, so all of a sudden he's now a level 2. So he drops down to an apprentice, because it says in the rules that you're a master if you're a level 3 or 4, but because the miscast says you lose wizard levels, he now becomes a level 2, so now he's a wizard apprentice. So now he only gets a +1 to cast, and the rather than +2, and he has +1 to dispel rather than +2. So that's pretty big. And let's see. So there's that combat there where he actually charged into my organ gun. He fails to wound me. I do 2 wounds back to him. So there's that other spell, the blinding light, which does no good. So there's his 2 wounds. Sorry for the blurry picture. And he breaks. He breaks from combat, and I'm looking at him like, that's just really bad luck. That sucks. So there's that picture with them fleeing. So now it's Dwarves turn 3. So as I said, they're fleeing. So they're now chaffing up his Caimans on that flank. So I'm not worried about that flank anymore. He's still hiding behind the hill, and his warriors are there. So rally fleeing troops. They rally. And oh, the reason why my BSB is out like that is I charged him out of the unit into the skinks because I wanted to put the skinks a little bit further on that flank between me and the Caimans. I wanted them to turn around and truly chaff him up. So I just ran like 2 inches, 3 inches, and put him exactly where I wanted him. Meanwhile, I set it up so the one unit of Temple Guard in behind the hill, they can't see anything. All right, that we play the bases of the terrain piece, so they're completely blocked by the hill. And his other unit, which could go ahead and charge my King's Guard with my King, and that is a nasty hand-to-hand unit, and then get flanked by a unit of warriors with spears. So he's like, not gonna do it. So over here, I do a couple wounds over there. That says, I think he counts down. So I turn around, I wound some of the Caimans with that. Now here's the other thing. Let me go, because if you see how they are now, the reason why it looks like they're running more or less towards the building, that was from that flee that I did. And he's also using Orgrin from his War Machine army. Like I said, we play everything. When I chose to flee with my one unit, with my Forge Wardens, he was outside of range, or he tried to redirect and he failed his redirect test, so he had to pursue them. And because he had to pursue them, it put him going straight towards that piece of terrain and stop 1 inch away. The movement tray is bigger than what the actual unit is, but that's why that's that way. So again, it's between chaffing him up with the skinks, between using the flee to my advantage, just that flank is not pressured. So now it's his turn 3. He moves his warriors up. He's still keeping his Temple Guard behind that hill. And if you remember, I said he got those spells off irresistibly. That I forgot to mention this because I didn't take a picture. I actually got a shot off of my flame cannon. It was like a perfect shot. It was going to wound how many models? It was going to wound basically 3/4 of the unit. And then he turns to me and goes, "Oh no, wait a minute. Roll a die." Okay, why? I have that spell up. You didn't get to shoot if you rolled on a 4+. So I roll a dice. Sure enough, it's a 4. So all those wounds I must have been doing over close to 15 wounds there. All those wounds were negated from that spell. So saved his bacon, but at the same time, it was kind of one hit wonder. But that would have been a true game changer at that point. And already, where the points are still even, I have them outmaneuvered. Even though I hate doing turtles, and I'm really not. It's kind of a Mexican standoff, so to speak, between his 2 hand-to-hand units, or his 1 hand-to-hand unit and mine. But that's literally where we are. So, I'm sorry, I was incorrect before. This is when he turns around. He puts Time Warp on. Oh no, he'd already done all the damage. He puts Time Warp on now. I'm like, I'm not going to charge. I've got flame cannons. I'm going to try to shoot you to death. So now it's Dwarf turn 4. I chaff him up with my warriors. And he rallies his skinks. And that's it. Nothing else going on. I get off the same 2 spells, reroll my armor, -1 to wound, and my cannon does a misfire. Now, I need to turn around and ask this question, because I don't know how this plays out. I've got the rune, one of the runes on there that gives me a +3 to my ward save, or not to my ward save, but to my die roll. So the question is if I had rolled a 6, typically I'm removing a model from the unit, but it becomes more than a 6, and with that one rune. So do I still remove it? Because that's not what it says in the rules. It says up to a 6, and I'm looking up that one thing right now where the flame cannon says, let's see, flame cannon says +3 magical. Let's take Rune of Engineering is adds 4 to any rolls on the misfire table. So that's +4 to the misfire. So if you guys know, do me a favor, let me know. And that's what happened. So over here, I kill one more skink, kill another caiman, and now it's Lizard's turn 4. Lizard's turn 4. He charges back into that war machine with the skinks. I screwed up. I should have put my my BSB right in front of his skinks, because there's no way they're going to hurt that BSB at toughness 5, weapon skill 5 with 3 attacks. So my money, and he's a BSB. My money would have been on him. And he was getting tired, not tired, but he was getting antsy. So he took his Temple Guard, going, all right, they're stubborn. I'm going to have to clear out his chaff. They'll take a hit from the 2 units, and as long as I have one model there, I'll be set up perfectly for the counter charge with the warriors. That's the key thing that I want to say is he needs to end up having a model there. So he does 2 wounds to the war, or 1 wound to the war machine. I do nothing back, but I'm stubborn. Over here, he was expecting his unit to wipe me out, and so was I. I was really expecting them to wipe me out. But that didn't happen. You know what? And I just answered my own question going back earlier for the malfunction on a 5+. It's not 5 or 6, it's a 5+. So I still should have lost a model from the flame cannon. So I do apologize about that, but it doesn't do anything the rest of the game. So there's 5 models there that end up dying. And because there are 5 models, if he chooses to pursue, which is what he was kind of hoping to do, or actually hoping to wipe them out and then overrun, to put me more towards my Dwarf King unit with the over there, he has to pursue them. And his pursuit would completely take him out, exposing a flank. So he tries to restrain, he restrains, and the warriors run away. Over here, he does 2 warriors to the 2 wounds to the organ gun. As I said, the organ gun sticks, and now it's dwarf turn 5. It's not looking pretty for that. So I charge him with the Kingsman first, and we line up as many models as we can, closing the doors as best we can. Then I do a make way with the king. And the spearmen charge the front with the clan leader. I've got 2 runesmiths in there, and I get off the spell allows me to reroll armor saves on the 1 unit on the left, which is the Kingsman. And I barely ran away with the warriors. I ran a total of 2 inches. So he was kicking himself for not pursuing them, but at the same time, it's like he probably would have rolled like a 7, which would have given me the flank of the bigger unit. I turn around and rally and just end up chaffing him up once again. And nothing you can do about that. They are completely chaffed. So warriors are doing their jobs, and that's it. So over here, misfire, lose cannon crew, close combat. I killed his 1 unit down to a man. All he has left is his unit champion. So, and that was between the king, the characters, and the spearman unit. So, there's a lot of wounds. And then his Calder Lord has to go to the front rank, and because unit champ, and because it's because where his champion is, doesn't move, it fills his Caudal Lord goes ahead and touches the Kingsmen, and I haven't swung with them yet. They end up killing his Caudal Lord. This is the point we just called the game. Over here, he fails to wound me. I failed to wound him, but they stuck. So the end result is that after that point, we called game because he's like, there's not. All I have left is my 1 unit, and that's not going to be enough. It ends up being a total massacre for the Dwarven holds, 20-0, because we were playing hold your ground, so the point in the middle as a secondary objective, and I was able to outmaneuver him even with dwarves. I was able to outmaneuver him, but here's the thing: is it was Brett's second game with that army. So for his second game with that army, I actually got to give him some very good prompts. I think he took a lot of good things out of it. His use of the Caudal Lord with the spells and boosting that up was great. So I definitely give him some of that. I like his army design overall. I definitely like the big unit of Caimans because that's just going to walk up and it can absorb wounds. It's a tough unit and it's just going to hurt you. I don't know what it's going to touch, but it's going to hurt you. Here, he placed it so far on the flank, and then I was able to turn around and have it go into an impassable piece of terrain and then chaff it up with the skinks. It wasn't looking pretty for him, but you take that out of the equation. If he actually had that unit marching down the field and actually had that unit going to my Kingsmen, we're talking a different game. So for a second game with that army, I like his list. His list definitely has potential. A couple tweaks I would still do, but definitely has potential. So great job, Brett, for what you've been doing so far. Over here for the MVPs, the Dwarven holds my marksman with the crossbows. The fact that they turn around, they run up, and they kill the Raphodons, which could have easily gotten in my backfield after killing the warriors and then take out all my war machines. Not only was they able to make that charge, they killed them. Then they go into the swarms, kill them, and then they turn around, and I know I forgot to have it in the battle report, but they're actually picking off the Saurian warriors from the back with the crossbows. They killed like 4 warriors at one point with the crossbows in one turn. Like, great job. So to me, that's what won it. And the Saurian warriors, I just didn't want to go near that unit, and the way he played it, it kept my army back. Okay, because Brett knows me, and anyone who ever plays me knows that I'm an aggressive player. And it kept me back because 2 attacks, plus the spears, with the armor piercing. Granted, I'm not worried about lethal strike in this case because I am not playing cavalry, unlike my Knights of Aquitaine, but that to me was Saurian Ancient's MVP because it allowed him to play play that chess match or Mexican standoff, however you want to word it. And that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed the battle report. And until next time, I have at least one more to turn around and make it, which again was going to be against Ryan again. Same list that we did last time. So thank you so much. Till next time.